Cuba was expelled from the Organization of American States, the OAS. That's the organization that's hosting the Summit of the Americas, right? So Cuba was expelled from the OAS shortly after the 1959 revolution and the adoption of socialism as the system of government. This country under the fuck you. This country under the leadership of the late Fidel Castro was represented at the extraordinary summit of 2002 held in Monterrey, Mexico. Do you see how they try to like delegitimize governments that they don't like? They call it a regime. Regime. Oh, okay. So Saudi Arabia is a lovely little rosy monarchy, right? Or a Saudi government, but never Saudi regime, right? Or the Duque regime. I mean, just try to say that with Biden. Look how ridiculous it sounds. The Biden regime. Biden's regime forces. Actually, maybe we should use their language so they get it. But my point is that the OAS, as you can see, they expelled Cuba. The OAS is an imperialist organization. It's an organization formed in the Cold War. And on the surface, it sounds like a great idea, right? The Organization of the American States. We put all these countries in the North, in Central America and South America together. And there's unity and coming together. Not really. In 2019, when they couped, there was a fascist takeover against Evo Morales in Bolivia. And I remember the videos, man. They trashed his house. Several people in his family and his government, they had their houses trashed or burned. And they basically chased him out of the country and took the presidency away from him. Disgusting, absolutely abhorrent, abysmal behavior, you know? And that was done, of course, with the supervision of the OAS, because the OAS said, okay, we'll come as independent observers and we'll count the results and you know, for the elections. And they said there was fraud. Evo Morales committed fraud, and he's desperately trying to cling onto power after his third, fourth term. And, you know, Morales had held a referendum with the people in Bolivia, asking them if they want presidents to be able to have more terms, right? So basically to amend the Constitution, so to speak. And they said yes. And that's why he was able to run. And then once he ran, they accused him of fraud. They chased him out the country, and you have these fascists who took over. And what happens then? The day of this coup, every fucking outlet you can imagine, the BBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of them together, like a choir, like an orchestra coming together. Evo Morales commits fraud in the elections. And they justify this. They create the music, the soundtrack to this violence. And then a year later, what happens? It turns out there was a miscalculation. A miscalculation? You fucking couped this guy over a miscalculation? Oh, you miscalculated. No, you miscalculated. As a matter of fact, I really don't like to make fun or something or laugh at other people's misfortune, but Janine Áñez, who became the quote-unquote interim president and took Morales' place, is on trial right now. And this is what happens when you do the bidding of the Americans. The Americans will leave you. They will leave you out to dry. Okay? Always. Always, always, always. Notice how every person or every country or every group that cooperates with the Americans always gets stabbed in the back. Always. Saddam Hussein, the Kurds, anyone, they always come after you. Or leave you, again, let others come and eat you. And so my point is here, I think it's really pathetic that we are in 2022 and we still have Cold War rhetoric and we still have childish, rejection, exclusion, of countries that have a different, politics. Whether it's, again, Venezuela doesn't agree with American politics, with the U.S. politics, I should say specifically. But they'd still invite the Americans, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my experience, what I've seen, is they don't behave like this. It's childish. And I cannot imagine in my wildest dreams Venezuela saying, for example, well, We no longer recognize the people in Washington. A bunch of Americans over here, they are the legitimate government, and we invite them as the representatives of the U.S. What is this? What is this childish behavior?